What teaching philosophy do you stand by?
What teaching philosophy do I stand by? I think my North Star always is like what's good for kids, right?
Yeah.
So like I think what's important is that a young person's development. Sometimes I think to myself, fair is not equal and equal is not fair, that every student is unique and kind of has like individual needs.
Yeah.
And that, we need to be empathetic. That's something I think about.
How has working in a small community made a difference to you?
Oh, it's everything. Like, I love this community. And again, I don't even think it's just a small community. I think it's the Alden community. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's a really special place that we have here. She used to teach in Lancaster for a little while before she got a job in Alden. And Lancaster is where I grew up, right? Again, my mom taught here for a million years. And the people I work with, I've known some of them since I was a child, since I was younger than you. I've known many teachers in this building my whole life.
Yeah.
And I remember, having conversations with my mom and her talking about, there used to be this tagline that I don't think anyone uses anymore, but they used to call Alden the best kept secret in Western New York.
Oh, really?
And that was that's something that I heard her say. And now that I'm older and I've lived here, and now I've been here for almost 18 years, so I think I understand it now.
And how is that different from, you used to work at a college, right?
I worked at colleges. I've worked in other districts. When the budgets got really bad, I lost my job here for a little bit, and I went to some other schools. And, I was working, I'm not going to name schools, but I was working in arguably one of the, quote, best districts in Western New York. And I got a phone call to come back to Alden, and there wasn't a doubt that I wanted to come back here. Mm-hmm. To me, I think about some of my mentors, our administrators here are some of my educational mentors. I'm only free to be able to do what I do in the classroom because I'm lucky enough to have administrators who understand what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because some people might look in my room and be like, what are you doing? Pretending that you're Australian and going to the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And going to the odd and chomping on lifesavers, or what are you doing playing cornhole in your room for half an hour? But my administrators get it, and they know that, classroom culture is one of the most important things to student learning, and that when I'm doing those weird things that people think are funny, that there's actually, I'm trying to build a moment that's made to stick.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to build a moment that's going to stick in your brain along with that piece of content. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish, and they understand that. Mm-hmm. I think a piece of advice that I would give someone like you is to don't let others dictate your value. Mm-hmm. Right? Because, whether you're on Instagram looking at somebody else's life and thinking that it impacts yours, or a teacher gives you a C and tells you, whatever it is, your value comes internally. It comes from yourself, and you get to decide how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean to be Pollyannish. It doesn't mean to just blindly be okay. Mm-hmm. I think it also means to be critical with yourself. Yeah. So when you look in the mirror and you ask yourself, is this the best I could do? If you can answer that question, yes, then there's no reason to not celebrate your own success.
You teach leadership and you're involved in a lot of leadership roles in Alden. So what do you like most about that?
I think being involved in leadership, I think what I like most about that is I feel a great sense of tradition mm-hmm. in Alden, and I feel as if I get to be part of that tradition. That you guys get to see me outside of the classroom, and I get to know you outside of the classroom. We get to know each other on a more personal level, beyond just science teaching. Mm-hmm. And what I value as an educator is not the content, it's the whole student. So I get to see you guys grow in different ways, stepping up for leadership roles, dealing with failure, being gritty, meeting deadlines, those sorts of things that I get to see when you're in like a position of leadership. So, and again, and contribute to that sense of community that we have and that history that we have as a school. And it pays a million dividends. It's just it's awesome. So I'm compelled to share a story that I think is meaningful to me. A friend of mine, his uncle passed away a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, and he was like a super well respected teacher, and he was like an athletic director for a million years, just like everyone loved this guy, right?
Yeah.
He was a teacher locally, and just an awesome teacher, right? And he was a coach too, so he would always, he loved football, so he'd go to all the Bills games, and his son is a teacher too.
Yeah.
And so he would go to the Bills games with his son, and inevitably, when you get to my age or older, he would see like former students, and they would have husbands and wives and kids, right? And they'd all say, "Oh, hey, coach, come over here. I want you to meet whoever and whoever and whoever." And he'd always give them that time and spend time with them, and hear about their lives and where they've gone. And whenever, this is a true story, whenever they would walk away, he would turn to his son and say, "That's the extra paycheck." Like, we are so blessed to have a career where we get to see the fruits of all of our effort. Like, we might not see it right away. We don't see it in the 10 minutes that you're in class. But when I see you be successful in like 10 years, when I get to like run into you or your brother or your sister, or I talk to your mom and your dad and they tell me how wonderful you're doing, that brings me such joy to know that I got to have a little piece of that. And that's the extra paycheck. That's the thing that makes this career so beautiful. It's so wonderful. So you don't get that in every career. And so it's really the thing I love the most about this job. So
my eyes beginning to blur after hours of staring at my desktop, studying relentlessly for my finals. As the harsh glow of the LED lights in the cold, sterile floors of the classrooms only seemed to heighten my anxiety. When I finally walked into the exam room, I felt my nerves intensify. But then I saw a familiar face with a bright smile, offering supportive words that immediately helped me to ease the tension in the air.